Thank you so much, William Juma. The Bomas of Kenya management has confirmed closing the venue for scheduled repairs, thus deterring Jubilee Party from holding its National Delegates Conference NDC scheduled for Monday, May 22nd. Speaking to the press, Bomas of Kenya confirmed that the closure was pre-planned and not meant to curtail Jubilee's plan as perceived. Bushebi Jr. prepared that story.
Kenya's former ruling Jubilee Party is a shell of its former self. From 172 elected members in the National Assembly in 2017, the political party led by former President Uhuru Kenyatta managed to win less than 30 seats in last year's election. To add salt to injury, nearly all of those members of parliament have since shifted loyalty to current President William Ruto, cementing his ruling Kenya Kwanza coalition's dominance in the 349-member House. However, the party has in recent weeks been the theater of an intriguing political drama featuring Kenya's most powerful leaders as chief protagonists and antagonists. On April 30th, former President Uhuru Kenyatta called for a special NDC to formulate new policies and receive a status report from the National Executive Committee. The meeting, scheduled for May 22nd at the Bomas of Kenya, even hit another humongous setback when the management of Bomas of Kenya rejected the request by the Jubilee Party.
We are not surprised when Bomas of Kenya denies us an opportunity to use their venue, and then they say that the venue is being used by the partisan team and also by the police task forces or the task force. And the truth be told, we were there. We know that those two groups are using the boardrooms. We wanted to use the auditorium. I need to mention that we had also approached the Agricultural Society of Kenya, and they had agreed to host us. But again, they were called from powers that be, and they also said we cannot, that they communicated to us this morning.
It was yet to be disclosed whether Uhuru would seek an alternative or suspend the NDC. In a statement, the party's acting executive director, Polycarp Hinga, said the NDC will go on as scheduled on May 22nd. Jubilee's Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni said the party had secured 2 venues for the planned special National Delegates Convention. Speaking to the media, the former Ndaragwa Member of Parliament remained cagey about the locations, but stated that the details would be communicated to members at a later date.
I know that this is part of the government scheme to ensure those in government, to ensure that we do not hold the NDC. But we would want to assure our members of Jubilee, the delegates of Jubilee, that the NDC will be there on Monday. We have secured another venue. We have
He did, however, note that the venues are within the country's capital. The former legislator claimed that the government was determined to make sure that the NDC does not take place.
We have secured even venue. But in the event that all instructed not to hold, we will still go to the private venue in Nairobi. I used to have security. The security was withdrawn some while back. There are many times we have had to sleep away from our homes because we have had those genuine threats. And I know that the same threats exist before man.
Late last month, the former president, who was largely kept off politics since handing over power in September 2022, made a rare public appearance at the party office in Nairobi to show solidarity with officials after a group of members of parliament and stone-throwing youths attempted to forcefully take over.
Wale ambao walishinda haki yao. Na sisi hatuna shida na hiyo.
Mr. Kenyatta was seen to be keen to stamp his authority when days later he called a meeting of the party's delegates on May 22nd in Nairobi, where a resolution to purge the former ruling party of rebels is likely to be passed.
We want Kioni and cohort to be removed.
Kioni is acting in total disregard of is actually contempt of court. And those are some of the charges that we are even going to prefer.
I also want to appeal to the party leader.
But later, the faction loyal to Ruto announced it had ousted Kenyatta as party leader, starting a new round of dispute that is likely to find its way to the political parties tribunal and the courts in the coming weeks.
That the office of the party leader of Jubilee Party is hereby declared vacant. 7. That pending the convening of the Special National Delegates Convention, the Honorable Sabina Chege will be the acting party leader of Jubilee Party.
6 ruling coalition members of parliament also threatened to have the treasury withhold pension payments to the former president for actively participating in politics.
Section 6(1) of the Presidential Retirement Benefit Act, which requires that a retired president shall not hold any office in any political party for more than 6 months after ceasing to hold office as president. The former party leader ceased to hold office.
The reverberations of the Jubilee Party falling out are felt beyond its offices. The opposition Azimio coalition has also accused the president of orchestrating the wrangling in its affiliate party as part of an alleged scheme to weaken the opposition and undermine multi-party democracy.
Tumeona vitisho ambayo inatoka kwa serikali ya haramu ya Bwana Ruto na vibaraka vyake. Wanajaribu kurudisha nchi hii chini ya utawala ya chama kimoja.
But the targeting of Mr. Kenyatta for ouster has also once again underlined the deep-seated fears in the ruling coalition about the perceived influence of the former president, whose shadow still looms large over the country's politics even 7 months after he retired. Under the country's constitution, he cannot run for president again, having served 2 terms. However, the ex-president retains his position as the chairman of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance, which sponsored Odinga's candidature against Ruto in last year's presidential election. His influence over local politics in the populous Mount Kenya region significantly faded with his retirement.
Muliapa ya kwamba mutailinda inchi, mutailinda wananchi na mutalinda katiba.
But the high cost of living and questions increasingly being raised about ethnic balance in President Ruto's appointments to public offices have handed Kenyatta's allies plenty of fodder for political propaganda that they can use to regroup and mount a comeback.
I also want to assure you that even the finance bill will pass. Government does not lose.
Kenyatta also packs a considerable economic punch, being the scion of the wealthy family of Kenya's first president, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, whose vast business interests include banking, hospitality, real estate, transport and media. Ruto's allies have in the past sensationally claimed without giving any evidence that he is an alleged conspiracy to destabilize the current government. For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Bushabe Junior.
Mukienda barabara ya kukosa kufuata haki.